God's will and Satan's lies, how Christians use divine revelation to exonerate their actions, and demonic intervention to condemn others. If you've ever encountered a Christian, either in person or on social media, you've most likely heard them claim that Yahweh did something in their life or is currently doing something in their life. And some Christians will go a step further and claim that Yahweh straight up speaks to them, like in plain English. When they get a new job, they know that Yahweh did that for them. If their favorite football team wins the national championship, if their church starts growing, if their grandma survives heart surgery, if their car is on empty but they make it to the gas station, if their prom dress arrives on time for prom, or if they have a weird dream, they know that Yahweh was responsible for it. And when they meet a cute guy, they know that it's Yahweh's will for them to be together. If things aren't working out in their relationship a few months later, they know that it was Yahweh's will for them to break up. If they leave their old church, if they start attending a new one, or if they start their own church, they know that it was Yahweh's will for them to do that. If they feel the urge to take a trip to Europe, move to California, buy a new house, quit their job, quit talking to their family, or something as simple as taking a stroll through Walmart and talking to random strangers, they know that it was Yahweh's will for them to do it. And even if something isn't specifically condoned or condemned in the Bible, they know exactly what Yahweh's opinions are. They know what he loves and what he hates, what he approves of and what he doesn't, what he justifies and what he doesn't excuse. They know what makes him happy and what doesn't. They know how he feels about video games, how he feels about vaping, how he feels about the clothes that you wear, who it's okay to hang out with and who it isn't. They know what political party he supports and every political view that he has. They know who he wants you to vote for, which Christian denomination he supports, and how he feels about marijuana. How they know what Yahweh did, what he didn't do, what his will is, and how he feels about every little thing, I don't know, but it's impressive, and it's admirable too that every decision that these Christians make and every opinion that they passionately hold perfectly aligns with the will of Yahweh. And some Christians are so spiritually plugged in that they can even read the thoughts and the schemes that course through the mind of Yahweh's arch nemesis, the devil, Satan, Lucifer. Some Christians are so hip and holy that they simply refer to him as the enemy. They're so plugged in. They know what Satan's done, they know what he's doing, and they know what he wants to do next. If a Christian is in a car accident, they know that Satan caused it. If someone gets sick, if there's a power outage during church, if a Democrat gets elected, or gay marriage is legalized, Christians know that the devil was behind it. And if science education is improving, if politicians are pushing to legalize marijuana, if women wear yoga pants, or if the preacher's son is attracted to men rather than women, Christians know that it's all part of Satan's plot to corrupt and brainwash the human race. They know that he wants to turn us all gay, make us believe in science, let women wear comfortable clothes, and make us all vote for the libtard Democrats. But is all of that true? Do the actions of Christians really reflect what their God wants? Or is their God really a reflection of what they want? And do Christians really hate the devil and everything that is of the devil? Or is the devil simply a personified embodiment of everything that each Christian hates?
When all is said and done, you believe God is a woman.
If you look at any culture at any point in time, you will notice a pattern among their gods. And that pattern is that the gods always reflect the culture of that location. And their knowledge and understanding of the world was no greater than the people who worshipped them. The Greek gods idolized Greece and shared their ideals and their philosophy. The Norse gods idolized Scandinavia and shared their ideals and their philosophy, as did the Native American gods with America, the Persian gods with Persia, the Roman gods with Rome, the Mesopotamian gods with Mesopotamia, the Egyptian gods with Egypt, and the Hindu gods with India. And the Israelite gods were no exception. The Israelite gods idolized Israel. They shared their ideals and their philosophy. All these gods idolized their region, their culture, because they were a creation of it. They were amalgamations of that culture and those people's beliefs, their ethics, their philosophies, and their desires. That's why the people also idolized their gods, because their gods were a deified embodiment of everything that they wanted, everything that they believed in and stood for, whether good or bad. By personifying their ideals as a transcendent and superhuman deity, they couldn't be questioned. Why was it wrong to steal? Well, because the gods said so. Why are women not given the same rights as men? Because the gods said so. Why is homosexuality wrong? Because the gods said so. The convenience didn't stop there. With most, if not all of the ancient religions, there were people who claimed to communicate with the gods. Prophets, priests, deacons, pharaohs, or simply the tribal leaders, who would inform the people that their gods wanted them to go to war with another tribe or another nation. And these orders couldn't be questioned. Same as the laws, whether good or bad, they were exalted and exonerated. Whether gods were created to serve this purpose or not, as soon as they were created, they became a tool to justify any belief, any action, and any order. Not only do gods reflect the culture of the region they were invented in, but they also reflect the time that they were invented in. And as time progressed and culture evolved, so did the gods. Either that or they were replaced by new gods, or in some cases the old gods remained but passed down the scepter to the new gods. Gods of primitive times had a primitive understanding of the world. They, like those who worshipped them, believed that the earth was flat or that the sky was a dome. They believed the sun, moon, stars all orbited the earth, and they believed that weather was an expression of their emotions. They also had primitive ethics. They treated women as inferior. They often had nothing to say concerning slavery or pedophilia, or if they did, they either condoned it or in their stories they practiced it. And as time progressed and humans became more sophisticated and their understanding of the world grew, so did the gods. When humans discovered that the earth was a sphere and that sickness could be treated with medicine, so did the gods. When humans decided to abolish barbaric practices like slavery, so did the gods. Philosophical times brought philosophical gods. Scientific times brought scientific gods. Gods once lived in mountains, until humans explored the mountains. The gods then lived among the stars in the sky, until humans explored the stars. Then the gods moved beyond space, and beyond time. Gods reflect the group of people that worship them, and they reflect the time that they are worshipped in. And even more than that, they reflect each individual that worships them. Jesus is the prime example of this. Despite everyone more or less having the same Bible, if you ask any two Christians what sort of person they believe that Jesus was, you will most likely get two very different answers. To some, Jesus was a strict and harsh law enforcer, cracking down on lackluster believers. He took Yahweh's law and amped it all the way up to 11. To these Christians, Jesus was the ultimate example of conservative values. But to some Christians, Jesus was soft and peaceful, passive even. He dismissed law and commandments altogether, and instead advocated universal love and a world of non-judgment and complete coexistence. To these Christians, Jesus was much like the Buddha. To other Christians, Jesus was the first true progressive. He put an end to archaic laws and bigoted beliefs like sexism, racism, and homophobia, and he promoted liberal values such as feminism, socialism, and equality. To these Christians, Jesus was a true social justice activist. There are countless interpretations of Jesus, and most of them have a biblical basis. Perhaps some of them are more accurate than others, but the truth is that every Christian is looking at the Bible through the distorted lens of confirmation bias. They're seeing what they want to see. They consciously or subconsciously project their own preconceived ideals and values onto Jesus, and then they use their Jesus to justify their values and ideology. So what does any of this have to do with a Christian claiming that Yahweh wants him to break up with his girlfriend, or an old Christian woman claiming that Yahweh got her to the gas station when her car was on empty? In the same way that Egyptian gods shared the values and the interests of the Pharaoh of Egypt, Yahweh shares the values and interests of each individual Christian. If your God not only supports your very specific denomination of Christianity, your favorite political party, but also your favorite football team and your decisions in your love affairs, then your God is nothing more than your own self-glorified ego. And this is made all the more evident when you consider the sheer fact that billions of people all believe that their God supports their positions and their decisions in their life. And these beliefs are all mutually exclusive. For every Christian who believes that God supports the Republican Party, there is another who believes he supports the Democrats, and another still that believes he supports the Libertarian or some other independent party. For every Christian who believes Yahweh wants him to break up with his girlfriend, there is a Christian who believes that Yahweh wants her and her boyfriend to stay together and have a future together. For every Christian who believes that Yahweh wants Alabama to win the national championship, there's another who believes that Yahweh wants Clemson to, and millions more who believe that Yahweh wants their football team to. There are upwards to 50,000 denominations of Christianity, and within every one of them there are thousands or millions of Christians who believe that Yahweh exclusively supports their denomination of Christianity. These Christians can all be wrong, but they can't all be right. So either 99.99% of them have mistaken their will for Yahweh's, or all of them have. Which one is more likely? But let's suppose that some of these individuals truly are receiving divine revelation. If that were the case, the fact would still remain that at least 99.99% of the people claiming to receive divine revelation were either intentionally deceiving others or were deceived themselves. And how would we sort out whose revelation was truly divine and whose was simply rubbish? If you're telling me that Yahweh wants me to vote for Trump, but someone else believes that he wants me to vote for Sanders, I have no reason to believe that either one of you have heard from Yahweh unless one of you can prove it. Now, if you're receiving coordinates to an undiscovered exoplanet, a cure for cancer, a detailed account and date of some future event, the location of the Ark of the Covenant, revolutionary information about the quantum realm, or some other data concerning our planet, solar system, galaxy, or cosmos that we humans hadn't yet discovered, then at that point I'll probably take you more seriously than the others. But if your divine revelation reveals absolutely nothing divine, then I must dismiss it, along with the millions or billions of other claims that contradict yours. If you want me to believe that Yahweh or some other God speaks to you, you're going to have to prove it to me, because billions of people all believe that their God speaks to them, and those billions of people all believe that it's true because they can feel it in their heart, or feel it in their gut, or because they have faith in it. So how are you going to prove that your divine revelation is any more real than theirs is? As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Christians not only claim to receive divine revelation from Yahweh, as well as knowing what all he's doing in the world, but they also often accuse people and nature of being influenced or manipulated by Satan and demons, as well as claiming to know what they're up to in the world. But this devil-detecting superpower that Christians claim that they have is suspiciously similar to their telepathic communication with Yahweh, with the only difference being that Yahweh supports their ideals and he condones or even commands their actions, whereas Satan, on the other hand, supports the ideals that Christian disagrees with and is responsible for the people and the events that Christian hates. If a Christian hates vaping, the devil loves it. If a Christian is a Republican, Satan put Obama in office. If a Christian loves guns, Satan wants to take them away. If a Christian supports capitalism, Satan loves socialism. And if they're homophobic, the devil and his demons want to turn everyone gay. Satan conveniently condones or is directly responsible for the ideals and events that each Christian happens to oppose or be personally disgusted by, even the most trivial matters. This sort of behavior is exactly what we could expect to see from someone wanting to discredit people or events or opinions that they hate without having any valid reason to, not the behavior we would expect to see from an interdimensional villain. And once again, this is evidently the case when you compare different Christians' concept of the devil. To a liberal Christian, the devil uses conservative values to manipulate people, and to a conservative Christian, he uses liberal values. Young Earth creationist Christians believe that Satan uses science to pull people away from their faith. But to more educated Christians, Satan uses pseudo-scientific corporations like Answers in Genesis to completely discredit the Bible. Church of Christ members believe that the devil uses the tens of thousands of other denominations to corrupt Christians and deprive them of their salvation. And members of many of those denominations believe the same about the others. On a very regular basis, when any two Christians disagree on something, they will each accuse the other of being deceived by Satan, or corrupted by demonic powers. One Christian's claim of satanic corruption is incompatible with the next. So once again, they can all be wrong, but they can't all be right. Either 99.99% of them have mistaken their contrapositions and pet peeves for Satan's handiwork, or all of them have. Which is more likely? And once again, when Christians are proposing countless contradictory scenarios, I have no reason to believe that any of them are true until someone can support their claims with something more than a feeling in their heart or in their gut or because they have faith in it. Even if there were some supernatural force of goodness and evil, I have no reason to believe that Christians, Muslims, or Jews have any privileged insight. Instead, I have every reason to conclude that they don't. When your God shares every one of your materialistic, romantic, political, and religious views, and your devil completely opposes your entire worldview down to the most trivial and inconsequential degree, it is clearly nothing more than a pompous projection of your own ideals. And when billions of people's gods and devils all do the same for them, all of which are completely contradictory, it's apparent that the proposed phenomena is nothing divine but rather psychological. And when everyone's divine revelations reveal absolutely nothing divine, and the incompatible accusations of demonic corruption are all equally unsupported by any sort of evidence, that's just the last nail in the coffin. So why do people do it? The reasons may vary from person to person. For some it may be subconscious, and for others it may be completely blatantly conscious. But the reasons for appealing to a transcendent deity are many, which is why humans have been doing so for millennia in the name of countless gods. Reason number one being that it exalts your opinions. It's no longer your opinion that your daughter should only date and marry white guys. It's Yahweh's opinion, and you can't disagree with Yahweh, right? And it works the other way too. If your daughter is in love with someone who has more melanin than you have, she's not really in love with him. She's being manipulated by the devil. You see, you no longer have to support your opinions with facts and logic. Or if you disagree with someone else's, you don't have to explain why they're immoral or why they aren't factual. You just have to appeal to your God or your devil, which means that your opinions can be as immoral or as stupid as you want, and no one can question them without blaspheming the almighty God you pulled out of your almighty ass. Secondly, it absolves you of any blame for your actions, because you're not doing something because it's what you want, you're doing something because it's what Yahweh wants. And so to criticize your actions would be to challenge Yahweh's perfect plan. When Pastor Greg Locke divorced his wife, he said he was doing it because it's what Yahweh wanted him to do. And as easy as that, he was no longer responsible for his actions. No matter what you did or what you plan to do, as long as you say it's what your God wants, you no longer have to be morally accountable. It's too easy and too effective, and that's why too many people do it. And it works the other way around too. If you don't like what someone or what a group of people are doing or have done, all you have to do is blame their behavior on satanic corruption, and nobody will defend them because nobody wants to stick up for Satan. Again, it's just too easy. I'm sure that there are many more factors driving people to claim that their God is working in their life, or that the devil is causing their church attendance to drop. Maybe some preachers just can't accept that they're boring, or maybe some Christians are just so desperate to believe that the Bible is true and that heaven exists that they're just looking for any little thing to convince themselves and to convince others that it's all true.
Time again for another amazing episode of Proof of God, a show where I try to prove to you in less than a few minutes that there really is a magical, mystical entity on earth with us that goes by the name God. Because it's always watching and listening, I'm going to read it this letter, and then we're going to ask for the signs in the clouds and go see if they show up. Dear best friend God, if it's true that you 100% loathe the Canadians and will send them all to be brutally and savagely terrorized in hell for an eternity, then create a face, a heart, and a 3 or a 314 in the clouds when I go outside to be with you. Regards, Chris. P.S. I love you. Alright. I'm looking. And